take painkillers as medically prescribed, you won't become addicted to them. You know, you take them as it says on the bottle. But if these painkillers come together with these other predispositions toward addiction, you find yourself taking more of them to get the same effect. You develop a tolerance. You find yourself taking them in ways that produce a greater initial rush. So you might smoke them by laying it out on a piece of tin foil and igniting it. It's called chasing the dragon. Or you might find yourself melting it down and injecting it. But it's expensive. The thing about addiction is it's expensive. So even if you're doing that with your painkillers, you look for other ways to get that same effect at a lower cost. And that's where the fact that the Twin Cities has this high purity, low cost heroin fits in. And that's the connection between the two. So it's really this perfect storm coming together. At the same time, we've had this increase in heroin, we've also had this increase in prescription drugs, and they're really related. The difference between this drug trend and other ones, I believe, is that it's more challenging to address because it involves a broader base when you look at the supply. We're talking about an issue that looks at legitimate prescriptions entering the illicit market, somehow getting diverted, as well as illegal drug supplies. So it's more complicated. I think one of the things most people don't realize is that even though doctors, primary care physicians, and family practice physicians deal with a number of conditions, is that one thing most people don't realize is that most people coming out of medical school today get only a few hours of training in addiction, yet they are the prescribers of very strong substances with very high abuse potential, addictive potential, and overdose potential. For the first time in the history of this country, there are more drug-induced deaths in this country than motor vehicle accidents. And that's never happened before. And another thing that's driven the diversion of oxycodone in this country are these rogue pill mills in Florida, where there are people in criminal networks who train citizens to go to these pain clinics that are all cash operated, that have cash pharmacies attached to them, coach them in how to feign pain and what to say and how to pay cash. Then they go get their prescriptions filled for cash. And it's been estimated that a person doing that under the training and tutelage of some of these criminal networks can visit 10 pain clinics a day and get a total of 1,200 oxycodone pills a day, just one person. And then those get sent out and distributed to other criminal networks to other parts of the country. Now, they have started cracking down on those and charging some of those doctors even with homicides this year. But that has been an enormous source of the supply of oxycodone for the whole country. In fact, it was 89% of all oxycodone prescriptions were written by doctors in Florida in the first 6 months of 2010. So it's something that's really being looked at as supplying the whole country with oxycodone, including parts of this far north.
Back to heroin for a minute. When I was a kid, heroin was the scariest of the scary drugs, is what I remember, and that was the message we got wherever. Have we just stopped paying attention to heroin, or what's happened?
Right. Well, heroin was. Yeah, there was always a line in the sand, and heroin was the hard drug, and most people didn't know how to cross that line to the hard stuff, which was heroin.